Pokémon Legends ZA is the return of Mega Evolution for the main series games, giving us our old favorites back, along with a bunch of new ones. But they messed it up, and I mean they really messed it up. Because in competitive Legends ZA, Mega Evolution is kind of bad. This all has to do with the new gameplay style that Gamefreak introduced. Here, Pokemon follow you around in real time, and their attacks have cooldowns rather than power points. But the change that affected Megas is this: the Mega Meter. This one thing fundamentally changed how Megas work from both a design and gameplay perspective, by making them a delayed power spike rather than an immediate buff. To understand what I mean, let's talk about what Megas used to be in the main series, both how they functioned and what they were supposed to do for the Pokemon that received them. The idea for Megas was twofold, as far as I can tell. One, give new designs to old Pokemon that people already loved, without making the current one a pre-evolution. This is similar to what regional forms would try to do later on in the series. And two, buff weaker Pokemon who have historically not been very good in competitive battles. Two is what we care about. Now obviously, they didn't exclusively stick to this, tons of legendaries and already good Pokemon got graced with Megas. But still, the vast majority of Pokemon to receive them were actually terrible. I don't want to hear anything about how Beedrill was always good and it didn't need a Mega Evolution. No, Gamefreak gave it one to buff it because they thought it needed it. And Mega Pokemon can do this in up to 3 distinct ways. The first is that all Megas gain 100 points to their base stats. This always happens. Now, depending on how this is distributed, these can either be huge buffs or kind of wasted. This also actually contains a secret fourth way to buff a Pokemon, where Megas can have their stats shuffled around. The example here is Mega Beedrill. It loses 30 special attack compared to regular Beedrill, and then that's put elsewhere on the Pokemon, effectively making its stat point increase 130, because regular Beedrill never used this stat anyway, so it's not even a nerf, right? Megas can also gain new abilities. This isn't always the case, but a lot of the time, Megas gain powerful abilities that drastically change how the Pokemon is used in battle. Things like Parental Bond for Mega Kangaskhan, making all of its moves hit a second time for less damage, but still applying secondary effects. Or Mega Mawile gaining huge power, giving it an unbelievable attacking stat. Last but not least, sometimes a Mega Pokemon can change type. Mega Altaria loses its flying type for Fairy, Mega Sceptile gains a dragon type, and so does Mega Ampharos. This can allow a player to quickly change types in order to dodge an incoming attack, or give them a new resistance. And if Terastallization has shown us anything from Scarlet and Violet, it's that it's really, really powerful to be able to change your type mid-battle. These type changes also often come with expanded move pools. Ampharos every gen since 6 has gotten access to Dragon Pulse, despite it not having a Mega in Gen 8 or 9. It should be fairly obvious why all of these things are huge changes and mostly buffs to Pokemon in competitive play. They get more stats, better abilities, bigger move pools, and can change types mid-battle. But something was taken away from Mega Pokemon in competitive Legends ZA that allowed these buffs to be even more powerful than they seem. Mega Evolution used to be immediate, and it lasted the rest of the battle as long as the Pokemon who used it was alive. The moment a Pokemon is on the field, you can Mega Evolve. At most, you are spending one turn as a non-Mega Pokemon, which yes, can be a long time in competitive matches, but there's also a lot of ways to get Pokemon on the field safely, so I don't think it's a big deal. It's not like you have to attack several times with regular Mawile in order to unlock its ultra-powerful Mega form. You just click a button and you have it. But in Legends EA, that's basically how Megas work. And it's even worse than I described. Battles in this game are free-for-alls with 4 people, and they only last 3 minutes. To Mega Evolve in them, you have to build up Mega Power, tracked by the aforementioned Mega Meter here. You can do that by issuing attack commands to a Pokemon, collecting Mega Orbs on the ground, or getting hit by attacks. When you have a full meter, you can right-click the stick and Mega Evolve. While you're evolving, you're also completely invulnerable to damage for the entirety of the animation. And getting enough Mega Power to evolve can take a really long time to do, for 2 reasons. Each attack you execute doesn't even fill 1/4 of the Mega Meter. So, depending on the length of your Pokemon's cooldowns, this can take a while. Also, executing a command to do an attack can be risky. Your Pokemon gets stuck doing its animation, which leaves you vulnerable to attack from any of the other players on the field. So you can't just spam moves to fill it up, and it can take a little while because of this. Not only that, but the Mega Meter has a secondary use. Anytime you have more than 1/4 of the meter full, you can hit the plus button on your controller to enhance your attacks to become plus moves. This enhances your attack's damage by 20%, 30 if it's super effective, for the cost of 1/4 of the meter. Plus attacks are extremely powerful. You often need to use them to secure KOs, and every time you use one, you're delaying your own Mega Evolution, or shortening its duration. Oh, that's right, once you Mega Evolve, all of your moves become plus moves without spending the meter, but it slowly drains over time while your Mega is active, and if it runs out, you devolve. Now, you can switch your Mega out, but if you decide to use a plus move after you've done so on your new Pokemon, it still drains 1/4 of the Mega meter. This then shortens the time you would have left on your Mega Pokemon if you switch it back into the battlefield. So, what does this mean? How is this a nerf, and how does it make Megas bad? The invulnerability alone seems like it'd be worth it to use Megas, right? The idea here is simple. Megas are only good now if the Pokemon was already good before it Mega Evolved. The most popular Megas in the game at the moment are Garchomp, Metagross, Skarmory, Excadrill, Greninja, and Gyarados. Skarmory is the only Pokemon here who even remotely functions like the old style of Mega. Buff an old Pokemon to be crazy and different, and I don't think it would be so popular if it couldn't Mega Evolve. Everyone else on the list is an insanely powerful metagame threat already without their Mega, and lots of them don't even run their Megas or they don't need them to be good in this game. People run these Megas because they're already going to use a Garchomp since it's like the best Pokemon in the game, and you don't think you need an item for it, so you might as well get a free invulnerability sometimes and deal a bit more damage. If you go with a Mega like, let's say, Frostlass, you literally have a useless Pokemon and cannot use plus moves if you need it, because otherwise your access to said Pokemon is slowed drastically. This in and of itself would be a pretty big problem, enough to warrant me saying Megas are probably bad or neutral at best. But they have a second problem, one that they've kinda always had since their introduction. Megas use your Pokemon's item slot. In order to Mega Evolve Camerupt here, it needs to hold Cameruptite. Mega Camerupt is literally only 3% stronger than Camerupt with an Expert Belt, and it's weaker than Camerupt with a Life Orb. The KO ranges for all these moves do not change at all. Like I said, this has kind of always been the case. For example, Choice Band Scizor has always been stronger than Mega Scizor.
Triple kill.
But this has been exacerbated in Legends EA because the game does not have abilities. You know, one of the 3 things I said was a way to buff a Pokemon using Mega Evolution. Mega Kangaskhan doesn't have Parental Bond, Camerupt doesn't have Sheer Force, Pinsir doesn't have Aerial Leap. I could go on. If a Mega had an ability that it relied on to deal more damage, it's been neutered. There's basically no way it's dealing more damage than its base form. All of these changes have caused Megas to become almost superfluous. They're barely used additional forms Pokemon have, mostly for the convenience of the invulnerability frames that they grant. Gamefreak didn't alter Mega Evolution enough for this new style of battle. They made it a delayed power spike, something that you build to over time rather than a thing that you can do immediately. This caused Megas to have much higher risk-reward ratios than they used to, because before they basically didn't have any. 100 base points, no item, and no ability is not enough of a change to warrant using this mechanic on a Pokemon that's probably going to be useless for like half of a battle. I think it's quite a shame, to be honest. This game is supposed to showcase Megas. They're supposed to be powerful, and you can even Mega Evolve more than once per battle in this game. Right now, it feels like a rich get richer situation, when that definitely was not the case before. I'm not sure what the solution is, because you can't have everyone start with a full meter. Battles would be insanely chaotic from the jump, more so than they already are. I also don't want to throw out the Mega Meter, because I kind of like the plus move system. I think they're really fun to use. Maybe they could have made it so only Mega Pokemon have abilities, so that way they had a huge one up compared to standard Pokemon. Yeah, it would still be tough to get a regular Mawile in to evolve it, but then the Mega would go crazy. At least we would see something other than Mega Metagross, Mega Skarmory, or Mega Garchomp. Come on, I'm so sick of these guys. Alternatively, maybe Pokemon with a Mega Stone could build meter faster than those without it. Or maybe you generate Mega Power at a rate relative to your base stat total, so weaker Pokemon in general are buffed, and weaker Megas can Mega faster? What do y'all think? What solutions do you have for this? I've been toying around and I couldn't quite nail anything down. Have you been enjoying any of the lesser used Megas, or are you a Skarm abuser having the time of your life? Let me know down below. Anyway, thanks for watching, I'll see you next video, and I hope you're enjoying Legends EA.